Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Who was from last class? Who attended last class? Can you type yes? I attended. I just want to know, just want to talk to the people who said yes first. So, have you tried understanding multi-time frame, labeling at H4 until M5? How was it? Any experience, any good experience that you labeled and it went to the direction you wanted? Say something like how many pips was it a success? Nice, Herman. You done it. Set my assignment with Joe, but you haven't checked. Oh, too many assignments. People sent rip goal. I didn't check. Too many. Yes. Next time if you join, just change your Zoom name to a different name. Don't put iPhone. It's hard for me to call and answer you. Nice rip goal. GBB USD. Oh yeah, I saw. And there's one person who wanted to sell you cat, I think, but I forgot who. We discussed on it and it dropped. A quick recap would be good. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait a little bit more, maybe 5 more minutes. +30 pips, Nest 100. Wait, I'm typing. All right. Want to invite me to Maldives, Ahmed? This is Joe. You should message Jack. Message Jack, ask him. We're just gonna wait a little bit more, guys, and then I'll do a short recap, and then we can start on high rejection zones. For Jack is busy right now. He's not joining today. Okay, we are gonna start. Come on. Waiting for more people to join, and then we're gonna start our second week of lesson. So anyone have questions on the previous class? Because you have done your analysis and filter it until M5. Any questions on that matter? Hosting me and Jack in Ghana. Oh, for a month. Hello, everyone. Joe, you mentioned last week you don't use patterns. Why? Because I use my own pattern, Carlos. I understand my own pattern, like the things I teach you, like filtering until M5, and then like seeing at the body opening, things like that. It's already it's patterns before the pattern form. Pen and paper ready for notes. All right, we're just gonna start a little bit more. I'm just waiting for some more audience, just making sure that people don't miss out. If I start, I'm scared they are gonna miss out. Carlos, did you try labeling multi-time frame after the class? And how was your experience? Any good ones? Increase the size. All right. Will be high rejection zone will be discussed for every time frame. Yeah, every time frame. It's gonna be mixture of multi-time frame, filtering, M5, and high rejection zone. It's gonna be mixed. 3 things. And then next week is gonna be mixed more, and yeah, further and further. After we draw the zones from H4 to M5, we use them to see if the price rebound or them. Or yeah. Or you can enter and put a very short SL, but you need to see the time frame. Maybe H4 is opening in like 1 hour, so maybe it can still reject up. So things like that you have to see. Hello everyone, is there a way of getting the previous class? You have to ask Jack. Okay. Miss B, maybe next week I'll cover on the pattern. This week it's just going to be more on naked without pattern. So let's recap first. Remember the last previous class I mentioned that in M5 1797 is a strong spot, remember? So technically excuse me. Okay, so technically 1797 is around here. It's around here. So it broke this level, it dropped how many pips? It dropped 70 pips, and then once it has rejected and the new H1 open, it flew from 1797 till here, 400 pips. And then it got stuck on this support over here. This support, and then it flew. It flew how many pips? About 400 pips as well. So how would we analyze it? Is that we start from H4 daily, sorry. And we saw at that time that this candle ate the previous candle, and then it has a strong open body there. And then this open body is at a flying spot. It's at the flying spot over here. So that's why it's a strong buy zone. But for us to know exactly where, we need to filter on smaller time frame, which is H4 first. And on H4, we know that it couldn't break this zone, because from this zone, it flew, drop, shouldn't break back this zone for it to fly. Why did it break back that zone? Maybe because daily wanted to take the lower buy over here, which is the second entry for a spot, second buy zone. So once it has touched that zone, it maintained above the second buy zone. That's why it broke and buy. So next week, if it wants to continue buy, it has to break this zone and then maintain above it. So it will be continuing moving up if it cannot break back the zones, the support zones. Let me read some comments. Jack is out. Can't get sound. Wait, let me message Colin. Is the pump from 1812 to 1849 by institution? 1842. The institution would have entered around here or here. they would want a more stronger support zone, but then they are waiting for long term. So once they have entered, they don't take profit too early. So it will cause the price to hold at a certain point, and then when normal people buy or investors, it pushes the price up because they are holding the price on here. If they TP, it will cause a short fall. What is the expected price for next week? Next week, we the first day we would need to see when the chart opens, can it break this level? Because this is the drop level. Because of this level, it dropped really far. So it needs to break this level. So in H4, once this one flies, it cannot break back the H4 candle that caused the fly. But if it breaks back, it's going to retrace to this support zone again, or this support zone over here. After it fly, it can come back here and then reject and fly. So I think let's just start our lesson for today. High rejection zones. Okay. Okay. High rejection zones. What is high rejection zones? When you see the candlestick chart, you can switch to line chart and you'll see in terms of line, correct? So we want to know high rejection zones are zones where the opening and closing is always at the same spot. In line chart, this means that the candle opens down here, it closes up here, and then it opens up here, it closes down. Okay, then it keeps closing down. That's why it dropped. So line chart is almost similar to candlestick, but without opening and closing. The strongest opening and closing is at U-turn spot. It means it's a drastic open and close change of trend. So after we know that these zones has touched 3 times, it will fall maybe. And when it comes back up here, it's a strong zone. So we can label this zone as high rejection zone. But when we label it as high rejection zones, we still need to filter in M5 because every rejection zone has a week, correct? So we need to filter in this week, where is the high rejection zone in M5? Okay, so high rejection zone usually you can use in H4. It's very clear and straightforward, or daily. Okay, because if we use weekly, the week is already so long. It would be like probably 60 to 100 pips. So we don't want that. That's why we focus on high rejection zones in lower time frame. So at least it's it can be filtered to a really low week distance. Let me read some comments. Any questions, guys? Is everybody following? Is the audio clear? Is it lagging or anything? Can you guys type and let me know? Okay. So if we see it in the chart, for example, we switch to H4, then we switch to line chart. Line chart. Okay, this is line chart. So when we scroll anywhere to the back or anything, so for example, these zones, we know that it has touched 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 times. So for example, we take this zone and then we see this buy zone as well. But when we change to candlestick chart, there is going to be wicks. Okay, the wicks are very short here, so it's fine. Usually it's going to be a bigger wick. So this zone, when it comes back, is going to be a strong zone that it shouldn't break. Okay, as you can see, it happened here. When it happened, it dropped easily 400 pips. Okay, so let me show you another example. We change to line chart. We scroll anywhere. For example, an obvious rejection would be, for example, like this. For example, like this. 1, 2, 3. Almost. So this zone is going to be strong. And it shouldn't break this zone. If it breaks this zone, it's going to fly. Okay. So when we change to candlestick again, as you can see, when it comes back to this zone, it has a strong push. Do you see over here? Almost 700 pips because of this zone. Same goes to here. If it breaks this zone, it will fly. But when we label with line chart, the zone is going to be huge. How big is the zone? 100 pips. So what we need to do is we need to actually filter in M5, for example, the same thing in line chart at the wicks. We will get a sharper, for example, over here, sharper entry that it cannot break. So for example, when it breaks, it will fly at this zone. So at least we know that our zones is, for example, 40 pips only. So, but if you are actually experienced, you can reduce the zone down to like 30 pips or 20 pips. Okay. Same goes to the one down here. If we filter in M5, we can see where it flies and the wicks. So in M5, it's open and closing around here. And over here as well, it flew from here. So it means there's going to be an M5 candle where it flew. So when we reduce this zone in M5 later on, it'll be a sharp zone here. Okay. So everybody following so far? Herman, are you following? Okay. So, okay, let me show you a multi-time frame high rejection zone analysis. Okay. Okay. So, let us, for example, take any other currency that has, okay, like this. For example, GU. So, firstly, we change to line chart. And we can see that this is high rejection zone, right? Over here. And then another one would be over here, right? Because over here it fell. This one it reject. This one it reject. This one it broke. But then around here it fell. So around this level is the second level. So then after we are done with this, we go to, for example, we can skip H1. We can straight away go to M30. We can change to line chart again. And then in M30, we can label, for example, in M30, it's already almost accurate, as you can see. So we don't need to change anything. And for the second one, maybe we can move it up to this level. So it's like this. We can move it up to here, the blue one. Okay. Okay, this blue one. So once we are done with M30, we change to, you can change to M15, but it's not going to be a lot of difference. For example, see in M15, it shifted the place a little bit higher only, around here. Blue color. Blue color means we already adjusted. Okay. From pink is the original H4 high rejection zone, but the blue color is the smaller time frame adjustment. So that is for that. And for this one, it's almost the same, but we could make it a little bit higher. For example, because here and then here. So what we can do is we can move it a little bit higher. For example, like that. Okay. As you can see, it flew from here as well. Because there's a bend there, means there's an opening and it flew. So this zone is correct zone. So like this, see, it fell here. Probably there's going to be a wick there touching the blue zone. Let us see. All right, see, it touched the blue zone. This one, right? Okay. So after we are done with M15, we will go to M5. In M5, we change to line chart again. In M5, there's not really no need to adjust anything because it's already in the blue zone. Okay. And then if we see the most recent one as well, maybe the most recent one is a little bit on top. So this one is optional, I would say. Optional. Because the first blue one over here, it's already strong. So if it doesn't break this one, it will not come here. That's why it touched the blue and fell. So let me check in the other one, the other zone. Okay, here. For example, the blue zone doesn't have much. Okay, there's a lot here on the blue one. Okay, but if it breaks the blue one, the second one would be around here. But there's only 2 info. If we zoom out also, okay, there is 4 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it can be a second cell zone. Okay, but the first blue one is already strong enough. So we can also pull back at this level. For example, I just want to show. When it didn't break, it probably fly at that level because a resistance can become a support. Correct? That was a strong resistance. So at the back here, if the graph touches the level, it probably will fly at the line. We cannot scroll further, so we change to M30, for example. So this pink line. So if it comes and touch the pink line, it should fly there. Okay, see? Almost didn't touch, okay? But yeah, it didn't touch. But when it broke the pink line, it fly. For example, it flew over here. And then when it break back, this line becomes a resistance until it breaks back. But that's why we need to create adjustment. Over here, when we see the stronger level would be here. See, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the future, this second line is a strong one because it can become resistance, become support. But it's very this one is just an extra knowledge for you to know. You don't have to understand it, just to tell, because some people might want to know. We see from the back, so it becomes a resistance. Okay, but since we are done with this one, it should look like this. Okay, after we change to candlestick chart, yeah, we know that this place is a strong sell zone, but if it breaks, it will test this one. If it breaks this one, it will definitely fly. Okay, because there's no more near resistance. It will fly until the next buy zone, sell zone, which is on top. Let me switch time frame, which is on top here. Okay, this, if it breaks this blue line box here, it'll go here. So it's how many pips? Almost 60 pips. And then it will U-turn here. So depending. So after we are done with these 2 cell zone, we have to think. There is just labeling. Okay, labeling zones. So now we can just analyze movement. So we open weekly, we see what did weekly do. Okay. Weekly fell from on top here, and then it U-turn. But where did it U-turn? Is it at a strong spot or what? Or is a random buy spot? So we zoom out and see. Oh, it's actually at the strong spot. Like this place caused the buy to go up here. And when it broke, this place is the place where it caused the drop. And then when you fly back up, this place is the place where it caused the fly. So we know this zone is very strong. So then it U-turn here. So based on this, we know that after it touches this, it will fly over here when it breaks. See? After it touches this, it will fly at the pink line. So we know that our zone down here, if it breaks, it will definitely come to the pink line. And breaks the pink line, it will become a really high buy. Because we were labeling selling zones, right? But we cannot sell, and it's a bigger risk because this daily has eaten this one before. And when the new candle opens, if it retraces down, for it to even fall further, it has to break this opening, which is usually hard. Because when it comes, it will reject and then opens the next day and then fly, for example. So what we have to think now is for us to buy, the selling zone place we had just now, we can turn it into buy zones. So for example, when we see H4 again, this place can become a buy zone because, for example, this place can become a buy zone because it's a support zone down here. So it just needs to break first, and then we can buy when it retraces back around here. But if you were to try to analyze a buy, it could be buying here, correct? At the opening at the week, because in lower time frame, the week here is the opening and closing at M5. So this would need some adjustment down. If we were to sell, we will focus our adjustment to the higher side. But if we were to look for a buy, we try to find our adjustment to the lower side. I'm going to read some comments just to make sure everyone's following. If price breaks a strong rejection zone, does it automatically become a strong spot? Yes, but only if, for example, this is a strong resistance zone. Price keeps falling. So we know this is a strong resistance zone, for example. So when the price breaks, for example, we need to see the candle that breaks the zone. If it's long, so when it opens back, it's going to take a lot of effort to break back this opening here. But if this candle is short, for example, it's short over here, so we know that the stronger zone would be just based on the zone, based on resistance become support. But if we have an opening and causing the chart to fly, at least there is two things at the zone. Resistance becomes support, and also opening candle zone. Okay, do you guys understand? So there's two theory to it. So the better one is here. This one makes it stronger, makes the zone at least there's two confirmation. That's to answer SL question just now. So we have H4, M30, M15, and M5. H1 is optional because if you use high rejection zone in the line chart in H4, when you see H1, the difference is going to be little. Doesn't matter, we can skip because we are focusing on M5. Would it be a mistake to remove the H4 zone after filtering on? No, it wouldn't be a mistake. It's okay to remove. It's just that I wanted to show you guys the changes, you know, first zone like here, and then second zone there, and then third zone there. Do we need to monitor DXY as well? No, we don't need. Joe, when the price will fly or go down, you we'll wait for confirmation to entry, a retest. So when I entry, maybe I'll wait and see on the time. If M30 is about to change and it has, for example, already dropped to this zone, a very huge drop. So there is a chance, for example, in 5 minutes, M30 candle is going to open. So that's 5 minutes. If in 5 minutes, the graph rejects here and creates a wick like this, there is a possible chance it open the new one over here and will fly back up and test. If it's going to break this opening, it'll fly. But if it's not, it's going to play around. Okay. So I see the time as well. How many hours is it a new H1? Things like that. Because a new H1 can move far. A H4 can move really far. A daily candle opening can move very, very far. So it all depends on the opening. Movement should always be checked on weekly. It's better to check. At least you know the bigger trend. Where's heading? Is it heading down to the opening or is it heading up to the opening? So at least we have a rough idea on the trend. Jack waits a zone to give a signal or he sees something else that you will teach us in the future. It's all based on preference, you know. When I teach you all my knowledge later on and you understand, it's all a preference for you to trade a breakout or trade on a resistance. You can try to focus on the breakout, buy at resistance, but that is more on the opening of, for example, H4 or daily, it could cause the break. But so it's very different because if a H4 already open for 3 hours, for example, already, and then it has 1 more hour to go and it reach a resistance, sometimes it's hard for it to break. So it will be a sell setup instead of a buy. So things like that. Should we wait for the candle to close above or below zone to determine if there is a break? It all depends on the smaller time frame as well. If the smaller time frame respect the M5 selling zone, for example, it will not fly further. It will not break above. How long do we wait for daily to H1 for confirmation direction for replacement position? It all depends on the day, how the chart moves on that day. That one is it's a very general question. It doesn't have a specific answer to it. So technically, you guys understand the adjustment from high rejection zone? Any question on high rejection zone? If next week gold reject 1849 again, will it fall really hard down? 1849. Let's see. $18.49. Okay, the place we labeled just now. So let's see. Okay, for example, based on weekly, next week is going to open a new candle and it has 2 options. If it starts to become a bullish weekly, it can fly easily. But if it starts to become a bearish candle, it will try to retrace to find a buy, either in the middle or a little bit lower, probably. So that's based on weekly. So based on daily, same. When it opens here, it will come back up to this rejection zone and see if it can break or not. If it has some small rejection, it will fall back down. Wait, let me change the color. Yeah, that zone. So, okay, for example, it opens here, it come back up here to reject a bit. So if it starts to become bearish, it will come to the opening here or to the wick here and then reject a bit. So maybe Monday is going to be just sideways for a while before it can fly break or fall down. But it all depends on H4 as well. That is just weekly and daily. So in H4, we know that this opening already almost touching this drop. So next week open, maybe it's going to be slow until here. And then if it breaks, then we can start finding a buy. If it doesn't break and it starts to fall, maybe you can find a sell. But if we find sell, we have to be careful on this support here. Okay, because this support is quite tough to break, because after it touches this one, we have to know big investors and institution, they buy a lot here and they are holding their position. They are just holding for long term. So if they're not going to TP, it's not going to cause a drop. So maybe I'm going to be more towards buy for next week, maybe. How long? If next week gold, okay, understand what is high rejection zone, please. Okay, let me explain high rejection zone. Green, which part do you don't understand? When SVR, how soon should one sell from such a point? Support become resistance. Usually SBR, if it touches a support become resistance in a volatile movement, and then it starts to reject back really far down and then maintain below another SBR, then can sell, as long as the SBR area is very far from the support down there. If it's very close, then it'll just play sideways. It's not going to be retracing lower. What is high rejection zone? High rejection zone, I would say HRZ, high rejection zone. It is a place in line chart when you open. It's a place where all the lines starts to U-turn. The more it U-turns, the better. So this becomes our high rejection zone. But there's wicks in it. So when there's wicks in it, for example, the first green one is H4. Then when we open lower time frame from M30, M15, and then M5, we will have another HRZ zone, which is going to be a little bit higher and on the wicks. And these are zones that are called explosive zones. These zones are places where the chart is going to fall really far down or up. So we need to put a very close SL on these kind of zones. Rip gold, are you still there? Any question? So is everybody following HRZ? The understanding of HRZ? Do you like HRZ? Multi-time frame plus HRZ? Is it easy for you to understand? Or it's a little bit complicated? Because I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. First, you label HRZ, and then you just see the movement and understanding of the movement of weekly, daily, H4 to see if it's gonna align and follow your HRZ. If it's both indicating, like for example, a buy trend, then it's gonna be a nice setup. But if our HRZ labeled nicely and the movements are telling like maybe it's not gonna go on a buy trend, it's gonna be opposite trend, then the setup is not really nice. Green, did you join last class? Did you join last class, Green? Rip Gold, are you still there? Because Rip Gold attends every class. And Paul and Carlos, are you there? Is it easy for you to understand? Okay. Green, maybe just write down on your notes first. You don't have to understand straight away in the class, because these are years of knowledge I'm trying to put in your head. So that's why sometimes it might be a little bit confusing, but this is just the first 1 hour of you learning. So that's why it could be a little bit complicated. But if you try to analyze it for example, the whole week next week, it's going to be easy and for you to understand. Blessed man, every time frame is important. We would need to see every time frame just to check the opening, the position, is it a support or resistance, the the distance it traveled in that time frame, the bigger one. Is it approaching an opening, or is it just respected an opening down there? So it's all important. Please, what is HRZ? HRZ, like I said, high rejection zone. It's when you change to line chart and you see all the points dropping at one position. This is called HRZ, high rejection zone. So every time it comes to that zone, it has some high rejection and it drops. Comes to the zone, high rejection, and it rejects and drop. So, but then when we put HRZ and label this zone, there is, when we change back to candlestick chart, the zone is going to be having wicks. And these wicks are telling us there are sellers selling in these wicks. That causes the chart to reject and then starts to fall. So we want to be the sellers inside the wicks because these are the sellers that makes the price goes down. So after we know the wicks, where is it at? We change to M5, M30, and M15 to filter it and make the zone higher, which is over here, for example. So started from this zone down here, the green one, and it moved on top here. So that we save amount of pips. For example, it's 30 pips away, at least we save 30 pips of floating. So do you understand HRZ? Yes, you can enter in the HRZ. Can I say that 1849 and 1854 would be an express zone next week? 1849. 1849, yeah. Which okay. Yeah, it can be, but if you see daily, it didn't open the body at the explosive zone. So if it wants to go to the explosive zone, it has to go up. Once it has to go up, it will create an opening and then a bullish movement. So we know that as long as it doesn't break 1845. So I would say if it goes up here, 1845, when it comes back down, it will be an explosive zone for it to fly up or down. Okay. Because when the chart starts to move up, it will come back to as close as the opening, as close as it can get to the opening. So when it comes, it can either be a push up or reject down, because once it starts to become bearish, it has some pressure to start falling hard. If it breaks this opening or wick, it will move to this opening down here, which is 240 pips away. But I'm more inclined in the breakout, because we have to know that the zone over here, it has respected the lowest buy zone, and it reject really far and really fast. And then it maintained around this zone for 3 days and it fly. So now when it's already here, the chances are it's going to play around here, then it's going to break up. Chances are going to be higher on uptrend instead of downtrend. Yes, we can. Breakout is almost the same as, okay, explosive zone. Let me see my notes. I think I wrote about explosive zone. So, for example, we were to draw an explosive zone using HRZ. So let us, for example, change to line chart. Okay, in line chart, we know that, okay, over here there's one fall, and over here there's another. So I would say this is a rejection, a high rejection zone, correct? But this is from daily. So if you see H4, is it exactly at this green spot? I would say can be, because over here it rejected and then it fly over here, and then it rejected over here, and then now it's over here. So we can see M30. Wait, I need to make this smaller so that I can see in M30. Okay, in M30 it's around this area. Okay, so let us pull this M30 zone. So when we pull this M30 zone, it's over here, the gray one. So we change to M15. M15 cannot detect. I have to do one by one. Wait. Because sometimes it cannot detect because the distance is too huge. So I have to label in for example, I have to label a smaller one here to know where is the M30 zone. So when I change to M15, I can see it. So M15 over here. Okay, M15 over here. If we see candlestick, okay, there's no wick and it's accurate. So when we change to M30 again, let me do one more. Yeah, because the pattern is a little bit complicated for high rejection zone for this current one because there's no data. The data is very far away. Okay. So now I would say that the explosive zone would be 1849, correct? So if it breaks this level, it will fly or it will drop. But we have to know that this zone inside here is not gonna be a strong rejection anymore because it already touched a really low zone of a buy and then maintain around here and then buy another one and then maintain above this support here. So maybe it's gonna reject maybe, but it cannot drop below this zone here. So chances for it to fly up is so much higher than dropping down. So but we would need to see on Monday when it opens and the whole day is doing what, then we know what it's going to do because we can't really tell now, but based on what it has shown, chances for it to fly higher is there, at least 150 pips, at least from here to here. Yeah, at least 150 60 pips. So far for HRC, do you guys understand? I don't want to give too complicated and too much in a day because we have every week 2 days of the same topic. So you guys understand so far on the HRZ understanding? Yeah. So I want you guys to play around with multi-time frame and HRZ. You can label HRZ first, or you can do multi-time frame first and then do HRZ, or you can do both at the same time. All right. Any more questions? Yeah, Henry. It's a very interesting topic, HRZ. Very straightforward and very easy to understand. For example, let's see Euro USD, for example. we try to see weekly, where is it at, for example? Okay, U-turn down here. So technically, these places also is HRZ. If we were to switch with line chart, do you see it's a U-turn there, a U-turn here, and then if we switch to daily, we can see even more rejection at the back, like over here. We can see that it's from here, started the rejection until here. Okay, then if we go H4, we can see more rejections on that area. Okay, in H4, it's a bit complicated to pull the thing, but I'll just put line. So this is the first rejection there. And then the next one is at around here. This is the zone. Okay, and then if we see line chart, we can see the candlestick chart, we can see the respect is there. So we know that the next one would be around here. But since you guys maybe lack of experience, HRZ make it easier, because even if we don't label the zone correctly like that, but when we switch to lower time frame, for example, M30 straight away, we scroll to the back. And then we're trying to find the okay. Oh man, we cannot scroll to the back even further. So we would need to use H1. Okay, when we use H1, because sometimes you guys have to use the computer so that you can get more data, more history. Because sometimes if you use iPad or anything, it's less. See? So since we know that it's like that, we just have to focus on over here. Since we cannot scroll to the back, but I prefer if you can check at the back. But since we cannot, we just do it here straight away. So we switch to M30. We see that, okay, in M30, the zone would be here, correct? And then the second zone would be here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's around there. And then when we switch to M5, it's almost at the same zone over here. Okay. See? So when it comes around this area, it will be a very important zone, because these are explosive zone. HRZ is technically explosive zones. So if it breaks, it will break really far. But if it breaks back up, for example, we can see here, see when we break back up, the explosive zone would be here. Do you see this explosive movement here? So see, when it break this gray zone, easy drop. And then when you want to fly high up, it's at the gray zone as well. So HRZ is technically explosive zones. Please enlighten on the use of HRZ to set SL. Okay, to set SL. Okay, Ken. You didn't get, okay. I'll let Jack know, I'll ask him about the video on the second day of the multi-time frame. Zengi, I'm doing a full analysis on Euro USD right now using HRZ. HRZ is understood, but multi-time frame is the problem. Can you go over? Okay, HRZ and multi-time frame is almost the same. All right, it's almost the same. In multi-time frame, we straightforward look at buy zone, and then we filter it at opening, and then we go smaller and smaller. Correct? Okay. HRZ, we straight away see the zone, which is shown by the HRZ, by the rejection. And then we filter it at smaller time frame on the rejection. So it's almost similar to multi-time frame, very similar. So if you don't understand multi-time frame, it's okay. You can try to use HRZ first, and then you'll understand multi-time frame. It's almost the same. How many times do the rejection have to happen? For H4, maybe 3 times or 2 times. It's already strong enough. But just make sure that it cannot break. If it breaks, it will be explosive down, for example. So SL, for example. So since I know this gray zone is my buying zone, how do I know SL is that I see H4, for example, bigger time frame. I change back to candlesticks. So I know that, for example, when I want to enter the gray zone, I will check the M5 and see where did the M5 opening and closing at. So if you see M5, okay, mostly it cannot break this zone here. Okay, correct. Let me change the color. Let me put blue. Blue. Yeah, so you cannot break this zone. If we check behind on the blue zone, what happened? We cannot check. That's the sad part. Because if we can check, at least we know where to set our SL. But based on what we have, our SL should be at least around here. Correct? Around after this U-turn. For Euro USD, it's not even big pips. It should be like 20 pips. See? But technically, if we were to just make it lower risk, we can even put 5-10 pips SL, because if it breaks, it will move 20 pips. So we can cut at 5 pips because this zone is already sharp enough. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it broke, and then here it fly back 7. So this zone is already strong enough. SL can be very close, or if you want to think less, it can be below this support, the fly here. So you understand where to set your SL now? To set your TP, for example, you know that if you buy at this zone, where is the next high rejection zone? It's around here. So you can do the same analysis for a TP. But to make it fast, we can just switch to line chart and skip to M5. So we know that this zone is a very hard zone to break. So we can TP. So we can see how many pips from here to here is almost 80 pips. So for a 10 or 5 pips SL, you can get 80 pips. So it's a worth it trade. Just got back, Freddy. It's okay. I'll ask Jack to post this one. How many times you do the rejection have to happen to know it's strong? Already answered. Had set TP and SL, already answered. BTC is so much fundamental right now because right now there's so many news on it, so it becomes fundamental. BTC. Yeah, I don't have that BTC right now over here. Can't show it. So for HRZ, let's just focus on HRZ first. So you guys are getting it, the flow on how to analyze it, the steps, the understanding. All right. Okay. Okay. It's much easier to mark zone with this. Yes, it is. So it's almost the same as my time frame, but the only thing when you use HRZ, you just have to make sure after you are done with your HRZ, you have to do one more thing. You have to just check back all the time frame, daily. You can start with weekly as well, doesn't matter. And then H4, you have to see the opening, you have to see the movement, the recent movement. Is it a strong opening up and then fly or what? And then you have to see the volume, which volume is higher, a bullish or bearish, and understand the pattern, the behavior. Then if, for example, this shows like a strong buy and your HRZ also, you know where's your strong buy zone and it's almost at the same area, because this one is more on opening, correct? Opening and support and resistance. So if this and this is just at the same spot, it becomes a strong spot. So if you guys can't understand the second part yet, because this part sometimes people are a bit confused, it's fine. You just master this first part first. Once you master this, the second part will be easier to understand. Carlos, it's okay. Volume is another day. Because if I put volume and people still are processing HRZ, they're gonna get confused. So maybe volume, we do it a little bit further. Maybe 4th week. You can place limit orders. You can place a buy limit, but you just have to. The only bad thing about putting buy limit is that if you put a buy limit here, and you don't even open, for example, you put your SL here. We don't know that what time it opens around here when it play around here. Maybe it's a new H4 opening candle around here. So it's going to be an easy burst down or up. So it's going to be not nice. But if the opening of H4 is over here and it touches over here, it can reject. And then it open another one, come back to the resistance. So when you put buy limits, it's just that the con and the bad thing about it is that we don't know what time. Is it a new H4 or whatever? So it's going to be less efficient. Yeah, the next class I think it will be on Monday, so we can do live trade. We're gonna see the chart. If it's nice, I can give a setup like the previous class, the buy setup. Remember, it flew really high the day after at the same spot, but it didn't fly that night. Let's take it step by step. Too much information will confuse us. Yes, correct. Yeah, the breakout one lost. Remember, we entered straight away, it flew. It's just that we just wanted for like 100 pips, remember? So probably I'm gonna post this video today. I'm gonna try to ask Jack post it today. I'm just gonna post it in the public group and the private. And yeah, because I don't want to go further and further where people don't understand. All right. So I think that would be good enough for today, right? For you, Joe, does gold back to its old behavior, or no, still very, very volatile and unpredictable because of last month and Bitcoin price, all that is causing gold to be having some weird behavior right now, because it already touched a strong support of daily that has caused the chart to fly really high up last year. So now it's at a very critical volatile spot. Once it has fly, it will be sideways again. Okay, Herman, I'm gonna post this video again and you're gonna understand from it. Because if I explain 100 times, it's not gonna be applicable if you guys don't label it and do it yourself. You have to open the chart, try do it slowly, understand one by one, just do a lot. You can open 10 currency and just do. Just practice on it. Yes, I will try Ask Jack upload today or tomorrow. Okay. So I think that's it, because I don't want to teach too much today because a lot of people didn't join today. So I don't want to make them miss out on a lot of things. And I think we already covered a lot also today. A very straightforward understanding on HRZ, which is very beneficial to everyone. So let me post this on I'm just going to record a video now, and I want you guys to give a feedback. So I know me and Jack knows what you guys need. Is it a good class or whatever? So all right, guys, tell me how was the class today about HRZ, high rejection zone. Just comment on this one. Just let everyone know that what you guys understand from it, and how did you guys understand from last class as well, because last class was so much on multi-time frame, and today is more understanding on HRZ, which is very simple to understand and very good. So I hope everyone would be learning from these videos and improve. All right, just put effort in a month, you'll be in a different form in trading. All right. Okay, guys, I'm gonna post it on Telegram right now. So I want everybody to comment your feedback, so at least Jack and me know what is missing. Okay, I posted loading. I want you guys to comment, okay? Because I will read it one by one, and me and Jack. So at least we know what you guys are loving about it, what you guys are not loving about it, or whatever. The best teacher, great class, very informative, very well explained, great class, straight to the point. Yeah, love it. Can we have the next meeting at the same time on Monday? Yeah, but the sad thing is, if I do it on 5 p.m., we're gonna miss a movement, because gold is gonna have a movement at 9 p.m. That's why sometimes it's better to have 9 p.m. But we'll see. I'm just gonna see on that day which one is better in terms of chart. If at 5 p.m. it looks good, we have class at 5 p.m. But if it's at 9 p.m. it looks good, we do it at 9 p.m. All right. So it depends. So comment now. Open Telegram, comment. Let us know. Let me and Jack know like what's nice about it, what's good. Give me some feedback. I need to know. All right. Love. Thank you, Joanne. Welcome. Was great. But how can we see previous class? I'll ask Jack on the previous class video. We'll see how. Because we're not supposed to post any of the lessons anymore. But maybe today's lesson, I feel like it's so straightforward and straight to the point. I feel like sharing it to everyone. So, but I'll discuss it with Jack, and see how. If he agrees, I'll post it everywhere. Okay, so I'll see you guys on Monday. So what you guys can do now is you guys practice on your multi-time frame understanding and HRZ understanding. And then we'll take it from there. All right? And next week is going to be more important. M5 and M1 understanding. Once you understand the smaller time frame, it will help you in getting bigger swing setup. The man, Joe. Have a great weekend, everyone. Very informative. Will help a lot in my development as a future trader. Yes. Assignment, teacher. The assignment is just do a lot of analyzing in HRZ. Maybe a day you do 3 at least minimum. Just do it for a few days. Definitely, once you are good at it, you don't have to do it anymore. So just grind now, just label now, just push yourself now. Later on, you can just relax. It's fine. Okay. So I'll see you guys on Monday. I'll let you guys know the exact time. So we end the session for today. So just practice on HRZ, like how I informed. Just understand the HRZ, number 1, after you label. Number 2, before you say your HRZ is correct, you just understand number 2, which is the movement, the multi-time frame understanding, and things like that. Okay. So I'll see you guys next week, okay? Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.